Hey guys, welcome to my product video for this project. It's a big project, probably gonna have to splice together a couple videos, and I really wanted this to be a beginning video so that it would be easy for me to create a pitch deck, but I would rather get feedback from both developers, possible investors, uh, anybody who's interested in this project, so that I can make follow-up videos to answer those questions and then continue to splice them together to create a better whole so that we can address concerns. This is a new way of doing things, so bear with me. So the idea is to create a social media platform where people can trade hours, a new digital currency that we can create. And so the number one challenge will be to create online wallets and a secure way of banking so that people can store the hours as they exchange cash for hours. And so we need to create an incentive system for people to want to do that. Number one thing would be an equal exchange of energy. If you've read the PDF attached to this project, you'll understand that people need a way that we can start exchanging our energy in an equal way. The problem with all of the virtual currencies that we have now, whether it's cash or virtual currency, is that they're subjective of time. There isn't anything that's directly attached to time. Time is the international constant that never changes. 1,000 years in the future, we could have this digital currency that's called time that's directly attached to time. Eventually, the digital currency will probably go away once people understand that their time and how they're using their time and understand that that is what all of us are doing, and how we're managing our energy is according to how we measure our time. So I just wanted to use LinkedIn as an example because LinkedIn is a really good social media platform that has created the ability for us to create profiles, business profiles, what we have to offer. Where LinkedIn falls down is you are not able to see the needs of the community. It's hard to see what your community, your local community, and internationally community needs in order for you to support it. So when you think about hours and time, every product or service can be attached to a time value. So that comes with food, housing. For example, I can give you this one example. A house that's less than 2,500 square feet costs approximately 1/3 hours to build per square foot. It doesn't matter what country you're in. It doesn't matter. It is independent of any kind of monetary attachment because time is always exactly the same. On average, it's always going to take you, 3,000 hours to build a 2,000 square foot house. Now the money changes because the money is not subjective to time. It's not directly created to. But if we create a digital currency that's directly connected to time, that digital currency will always have the same value, and all of the other values of all the other currencies will slowly drop because as soon as people realize that the hour is the only thing that is standard, that's what they're going to want to invest in. So that's our main incentive, right? So even the products and the materials that go into building your house have an hourly value attached to them. Approximately, and I've thought about this, a house is probably on average twice the cost of the hourly value that it takes to build it. So for example, if a house costs 3,000 hours to build, it's probably 6,000 hours in materials in order of hourly time behind to create those materials and get those materials to the site where the house is being built. So a house, you could break down and say, okay, a 2,000 square foot house costs 9,000 hours. And that would allow builders to actually use hours to purchase materials as long as people are using that system. But the marketplace will naturally adjust for all this once people start using it because people will start seeing, okay, how many hours is it taking me to build this product? And then that's how I'm going to sell this product to market. That's food, if you think of when you break down small items of food, like a carrot might cost you less than a minute, right? Because how long does it take a farmer to grow a carrot, and how much time is involved in getting that carrot to you? But you have to bundle everything that went into that shipping load, all the hours that went into that thing, and divide it up. So those things in the marketplace will naturally work themselves out once people start using the system, because people have to start thinking about how they can provide for whatever it is they're offering, but at the same time they're seeing the needs of the hours for the community that they're offering. So this is another incentive which is going to enable people to move an exchange rate much easier. As long as people can see the needs, that's what we're going to do. So the idea is to create a social media platform not unlike LinkedIn, where you can create a profile, create an offering, but then also as soon as you create that profile, it automatically puts you into the city and the local area that you're in. And the idea is to have, let's say like on the top of LinkedIn or whatever social media platform we create, you're going to have the cash assets of hours that you have that have been purchased in that community. Now, if you've read the PDF, and I had to think about this for a long time in order to get people's incentive, is they need to be able to take that cash that they turned into hours and use it towards something, right? The drawback of Bitcoin and all these other ones is when you trade something for cash, somebody else is sitting on that cash and it's their cash. If we can give people hours and give them access to the cash, but at the same time have them sign a virtual contract that says any hours that you use as a community or any hours, taxed hours in your hourly exchanges, that's another thing. But the cash that has been turned into hours that you want to use as a community, you'll only be able to turn hours back into cash at a percentage rate that is directly related to how much cash has been turned into property for your community. So the idea is if you want somebody to move into an hourly system, you have to be able to turn cash into property as well, because hours can be associated to property, and you can associate property with how many hours you spend on a piece of property. For example, commercial property has a lot more hourly value than like farm or residential property. And we see that in our system because so many more people can be fit, and there's so much more exchanges that happen on a commercial piece of property. You know, a high rise in New York that houses 2,000 people, you know, in just a third of an acre, let's say, and it's that high. That property has much higher hourly value, so it has a higher cash value in our society. The problem is that cash fluctuates so much. We go through these boom and bust cycles that creates the imbalance in our society. So you can still put a time value on property, but in our system, it's going to be very hard for people to convert their property and try and sell them in hours. People could do that within the system if they own their property outright, but obviously people have mortgage payments, they have things to think about. So when the system starts, people are only going to be using a portion of their cash value turned into hours for services and products. People still have mortgage payments, car payments, things like that. But that will change as more and more of the public understands the value of honoring their time instead of something that is not subjective to time. That being said, so creating a social media platform, we can create a profile where you can attach how many hours that you've bought to your profile, the cash value of the community, the cash assets, plus the hourly assets of the community, which would include how many hours were turned into cash of everybody that's in that community. And then we can create forums. Now, we'll get into Discord here in a little bit, but creating this profile will automatically include you into a forum and decentralized decision-making process that allows you to make decisions as a group as to how to allocate community hours and community cash assets and to convert that into property. If you've read the PDF, you know how many things are associated with community development, right? You've got emergency services, which is fire departments, emergency medical services, protective services, includes judiciary jobs or police departments, education systems, help for the elderly, help for the disabled, uh, and of course, education systems. There's a couple things that I'm probably leaving out, but it will allow that overall community hub to create subgroups to take care of those and allocate all of the main cash assets and hourly assets into each subgroup to support those subgroups. Every fire department has a piece of property that's built on, and plus all the people that work underneath that fire department have an hourly value. So, that being said, we have to track those. All that has to be tracked, and then within those systems, and then people have to there has to be an administrator and a treasurer per forum that has access to moving those assets. So on the back end, if you imagine how much is going to be on the back end of this, it's actually quite a bit, right? Because they're going to have a main treasurer for how those things get distributed. But at the same time, and I can talk to devs about this, but digital currencies can automatically be assigned to a person. Let's say if you get elected as a treasurer, that digital currency will be authenticated by you. But if a treasurer position changes, that needs to change hands. So we can figure out how to do that later. This project has 3 main cores, which I state in the PDF, where you've got a social media platform, forums with decentralized decision making that incorporates into that social media platform, plus digital wallets and a digital currency that people can use within those systems. The digital wallet and digital currency can be directly just person to person or B2C, consumer to business, and allow people to create groups within the forum as well as their own business. And then later on, as the needs of the community rise, we can follow up, and there's going to be a lot of feedback as to what people want and need. It could turn into even business platforms like Monday or something like that, where you've got management software plus decision-making software on top of it, so that groups can co-create and offer services to the community. So going back to needs, not only are you going to be able to see cash assets and hourly assets of the community of people that have bought hours and turned them into cash, at the same time, everybody that is part of a community has a basic hourly and cash need. So if you think about, let's say you could put the average mortgage payment in an area, and we could come up with a number for that. Actually, cash assets are less important than hourly needs. We want people to move into an hourly system. So if you think about your hourly needs, what are your hourly needs from the community? My guess is it's probably your basic needs are going to be less than 10 hours a week. Probably it's something like 5 hours a week when you break it down. And that sounds low, but if you think about our current system and how much time and energy is pushed into just supporting currency versus people's basic needs, you'll really understand that's why needs are not being supported. And that's why people work so many hours during the week. If you think about where this is going to go, on average, if we moved completely away from all these currencies that are subjective to time and using time in and of itself, the amount of time you work during the week would probably be 20 hours or less. And the needs that you need and community needs would probably be half that. So, I would love to get feedback as far as that part goes. I'm going to jump into a video and I'm just going to do a short video on Discord. Discord is a really great platform that allows you to create groups and subgroups within a group. So we can create a decentralized decision-making system on the backside of something that looks like Discord. There is a possibility you could partner with somebody like Discord, but that software is so established, it might be an easier route, might be a harder route. I would have to talk to devs about that, because that software needs to be incorporated with the social media platform that we create, and all the back-end support for that, to be able to store digital currency and offer the needs of the community. So before I go to that, let's talk about hourly exchanges. So when you're exchanging hours, you want to be able to whatever it is you're offering, be from both ends, your needs and offers. So you can go, somebody should be able to create a profile, and then if they have a specific need, red flag their profile and say, this is what I want. Let's say they want counseling. They want help playing the piano, right? They want a piano instructor. So anybody should be able to go and that should be an international need, so that somebody could virtually or locally help somebody with that need. This enables people to just see what people's needs are, and then the hourly needs that those people have. So every hourly exchange rate, as soon as you come to an agreement, for especially service needs, you could do half hours up front or no hours up front, only full hours on delivery, but then leave it up to the recipient as to how many hours are rewarded once the service is provided. This forces people to actually be of service to each other. This is another reason why our modern system is out of balance, and why so much of our community needs have turned to for-profit businesses that aren't meeting the needs of the community. Our medical industry is a perfect example of what is going on there, right? I mean, how much of our medical community is for-profit versus just meeting the needs of the community as they show up? Now, if you have a community that's actually providing needs, I mean, if you're I would much rather have an energy healer that can heal me instantaneously versus a doctor that prescribes medication that is for a for-profit pharmaceutical company. Just saying. So that's another aspect of what we have. You're going to have whoever is the recipient of is actually authenticating the hours for that person's profile. So that digital currency will move from whoever's receiving the hours to the person from whoever's has the need. So if I have a need, obviously I'm paying hours to somebody who is of service, and then it's directly to them. So a way to store those hours offline that's directly connected to that person, and then also a way to store that online in a decentralized system, so that if the system breaks down, nothing happens. That's the advantage of all the decentralization that we have around digital currencies now, is that they're not dependent on any one server. Hope that makes sense for you guys. I'm going to move into the Discord and then talk about how the decentralized decision-making system will work for that. If you have any questions, I can make follow-up videos or concerns on how we would like to implement this. There's some ideas around smaller communities to let people play with it, see the advantage of being able to see each other's needs and provide for those needs as a community. If you have any questions, let's go to the next video. So this is the home page of Discord, and I like what Discord says on the front of their page, because this is really what we're trying to do. Imagine a place where you can belong to a school club, a gaming club, or a worldwide art community, where just you and a handful of friends can spend time together, a place that makes it easy to talk every day and hang out more often. So this is what we want to create. And there is a possibility that I can reach out to Discord and incorporate a decentralized decision-making system into their platform, and we can integrate that. The problem is and it's really not much of a problem. You just need to be able to list the available assets in each group or subgroup. Let's say even if I created a entertainment group, that I have a golf club and I want to be part of a golf club, I want to be able to see the cash assets and the hourly assets that the golf club people have donated to that group. Let's say they want to hire a caddy, or they want to build their own golf course, or whatever, or just donate hourly contributions so that it pays for the whole golf club to maybe go somewhere and go golfing once a year or something like that. Just to have a way to track not only where they put that and how it's associated with that subgroup, but how they use that. Now, that might be a little bit more difficult. Obviously, this is something that would be way far down the road, because entertainment is just entertainment, and people are their own responsibility for their own entertainment. And if somebody wanted to create a virtual wallet as a group, project, that's something that they would have to do, especially if it's outside of business. But for business owners, this might be something that would be a real asset for business owners if they had a way to track hours within their group and cash assets of hours that they had turned into cash assets for their group, so that they could track that and what they had to offer for the community. So if we look at Discord in and of itself, Discord is great because it allows you to, and this is just, I just downloaded it, and whatever, it shows messages from everybody. You can add a server, or this is adding a group. But a lot of these groups, there's no groups here. These are just some people that I think maybe they're associated with my son's account or something. But let's see, because he's got friends and groups. But this really doesn't show anything in Discord. My apologies. But Discord does enable you to create groups and create forum settings, create moderators, so to make sure that, if people are acting out in groups, the moderators can silence them, kick them out of the group if necessary. So you need an administrator for every group, treasurer, and the administrator's job is to be able to regulate who's in the group and silence them. For community forums groups, obviously everybody in the community needs to have access if it's a community group, but you still have to have moderators be able to silence people in the community if nobody wants that person to talk. Everybody has people in the community, we all know, probably shouldn't have a voice until they learn to control themselves and be of service to other people, right? One problem of the system we have right now is you don't have to be of service to each other. Anyway, this is just a short video on Discord. I know I didn't really go into Discord much, but if you have, most of you who are acquainted with software understand what Discord is and its functionality and how great that is for creating groups and subgroups. I think it's one of the best pieces of software out there because it's open source. Everybody can download it. And this is something that we want to be able to create on the back end, which is an incentive. The only incentive really for us is the exchange rate for selling dollars. So if you've read the PDF, the exchange rate for selling dollars, we could start at 2.5%. We could raise that if we need to in order to support the system. But the idea is in the long term, the system will get supported by hours from an hourly exchange tax that will go for the international effort to keep the structure alive. Plus there'll be an exchange rate tax to support people's communities. If you think about how much you pay in dollars and taxes right now, supposedly all of that is supposed to go to your local and federal governments to support that community for community services. The reality is it's probably less than 10% that you would need to donate for your hourly to support the hourly of your local community, or less than that. Might be 5%, right? I mean, depends how big the community is. You're just funding a fire department and an education system for the most part. The protective services are pretty much secondary, and medical services, you could argue, are a service offered that are for profit, and you could treat it like that, where you have doctors that just get refunded in hours depending on the quality of their service, which would actually be a nice thing for people and an option for people instead of having it be as dysfunctional as it is now. So I hope this makes sense for you guys. If you have any questions, I would love to hear some feedback about this video. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. If you've read the PDF, I think I've gone through enough of that to address most of the concerns. There probably is a few concerns that I've thought of that I haven't written down, and maybe I even forgot in these videos. So if you have any feedback or any questions whatsoever, please reach out to me. At the beginning, obviously, this is a big enough project where it's 3 parts that need to integrate together. So it's at least an $8 to $10 million project up front, probably in a 4-year or less window. Might have to seek funding 2 years down the road. That can be assessed though. But 8 to 10 million definitely gets us 2 years down the road before we need to start paying back on whatever loan that I get, or if this can be self-funded. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great day.